Welcome back. We're back with more on our top story this hour. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth under growing scrutiny for erratic behavior at the Pentagon, including officials describing screaming matches and threats to force top military leaders to take polygraph tests after a series of leaks. There's also brand new reporting that Hegseth had a special internet line set up in his office to use the Signal app in defiance of Defense Department policy. That's according to two officials familiar with the matter. Joining us now is Sabrina Singh, former Deputy Press Secretary for the Pentagon. Sabrina, if this was anyone else in any other administration, would they still have their job at this point?
I think if this was anyone else, the answer would be no. I think there would be no question. Not only would they have been hauled in front of Congress right away, probably multiple hearings on the Hill, but they probably would have been removed from office pretty quickly and probably at the direction of the president. So what we're seeing here is sort of unprecedented behavior, but, also nothing new from this administration. We know that Donald Trump does like the way Pete Hegseth goes out there and defends him every single day. So while in any other administration, I think Democrat or Republican, things would be different. Unfortunately, that's not the case here.
When it comes specifically to this special internet line that Secretary Hegseth had installed, can you walk us through what would and wouldn't be allowed under DoD policy when it comes to that?
Well, that completely flies in the face of DoD policy. And basically what Pete Hegseth did was choose convenience over cybersecurity. Working in the Pentagon, you do sit in secure office spaces, rooms that can handle classified information. These are called SCIFs. That's what the Secretary of Defense's office is. It is a SCIF. It allows them to access classified information at the highest levels. And you are not allowed to bring your personal phones into these rooms because it's not safe. And so when you bring a personal device or install, in this case, a private internet line, so he can access Signal on a personal desktop, that widens the aperture for adversaries and cyber hacking groups to try and hack into the secretary's personal devices. This is a device or a desktop that's not going to have the same security protocols as, a work computer or classified systems. And so basically what the secretary has done yet again is put at risk our national security, and most, damaging and most importantly here that should be highlighted is that he's putting at risk our military, our men and women in uniform, by the fact that he has a personal line like this installed in his office, which he does not need for any reason at all.
And counterintel people have said that he would be probably in the top 5 of folks who would be targeted for espionage by foreign adversaries. Sabrina, there's also just a culture issue that we're reporting on today that he's creating at the Pentagon, acting erratic, yelling. Here's just one example. When he learned about the leak of the second Signal chat, Hegseth screamed at the acting chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, saying he will effing polygraph him to find out if he leaked the information about the meeting, according to 3 U.S. officials familiar with the meeting. Plus, Politico has this reporting today, writing that the staff is now focused on building an aura around Hegseth by pushing out videos of his memo signings and early morning workouts, causing fears from current and former defense officials that some of the less photo-worthy events could face delays. What does all of this mean for just day-to-day operations?
I greatly appreciate that he likes to engage with the troops and work out with them, but I'd really like it as if he focused on his job. The Secretary of Defense, that job is very complex. It is very intense. There's a lot that goes into it. And the priority should always be protecting our men and women in uniform and our civilian workforce that are there. And you have the absolute utmost professionals working on the joint staff supporting the secretary. And that's what they're there to do, to help the secretary in this role. And what I'd like to see is him actually rely on these people around him, use their trust, use their strength and their long history of working in the military, some serving over 30 years, and really focus on the job at hand.
Sabrina Singh, appreciate your insights. Thank you very much for being with us.